and St. Kate's basketball is on the air. Matt Nelson with you from St. Paul on a dark, dreary, rainy night, but inside it's always fluorescent and 72 or so inside of the Butler Center in St. Paul on the lovely campus of St. Catherine University. Matt Nelson alongside of cult hero and engineering mastermind Glenn Thompson. So happy you can join us tonight. The Wildcats will open up their home basketball season in a UMAC MIAC showdown. Crown College and the Storm is in town to open up the season against St. Kate's and the Wildcats. Let's get you downstairs. It's the pregame show. We'll hear from Sean Pinkerton in just a moment, but a reminder, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Twin Cities Orthopedics, Ellsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Push Pedal Pull, Midwest Vending, Best Western Bloomington, Cone Elevators and Escalators, Sodexo, Loeffler Business Solutions, McGo Construction, Dolan Printing, the Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shapco Printing, Rachel Contracting, and the Opus Group. Let's hear from Sean Pinkerton. Home opener for basketball at St. Kate's. The 2015-2016 basketball season is underway, and as always, on our Wildcat pregame show on tjsportsonline.net, we bring you into the coach's office to catch up with head man Sean Pinkerton. First of all, Coach, good to see you again. How was that off season? I know off air we were talking a lot about having a lot of fun at the house. Plenty of sleep to be had so far. You're maybe a good sleeper, but lots of fun this summer with your newborn.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Pretty much the coolest thing in the world, being a dad, and getting to go home to him every day and hang out with the little man, regardless of how the day went at practice in the office. Just go home and hang out with him is pretty much the coolest thing ever.
You guys open up the season tonight against Crown, but before we talk about any kind of matchups or anything like that, how have the practices gone?
Good. We've got a little bit smaller numbers than we've had in the past years, and we've noticed a little bit of an impact with that at practice just because there's fewer kids to rotate on the floor. So, same type of duration practice, trying to maintain the same type of intensity. Well, it's more reps for all the kids. So just trying to really work and focus on maintaining our focus throughout practice, maintaining a real high level of energy and intensity, and that progression has occurred over the first month. So happy with that and really ready to get started, get on the floor and play some real games after our exhibition and scrimmage. Newcomers, anyone that we should have our eyes on who could step in as a first-year player and make an immediate impact? Yeah, 3 freshmen. And right now, all 3 of them are just kind of getting familiar with this level of play, the physicality, the speed of the game. Right now, the person probably most ready to step in and make some contributions is Alexis Christensen from Fairmont, Minnesota. Really talented forward, was a kid who had multiple 20-rebound games her senior year of high school, helped take her team to the state tournament, someone who we're definitely going to look for to be pretty impactful for us, hopefully this year and then years to come. The other 2 freshmen, Kelsey Olson and Mackenzie Mace, both had real successful high school careers, good length and athleticism, and kids that we think can translate into successful college players. You look at your team, you'll get some contributions from newcomers, but really the core 4 players probably is going to be the 2 Clarks, Jennings, and Holt. Yeah, I think definitely Mari Lee and Shauna Horsch, too. I think it's kind of those 6. You look at Mari last year was about 8 points and over 5 rebounds a game and led the conference in field goal percentage, so looking to get her more aggressive, looking for her shot. And Shauna was 13 points a game in MIAC play last year, and so had a couple really big games where it was 20-plus against Gustavus, 20-plus against McAllister. So if those 6 kids can be really consistent for us and then we can get some other contributions from a few other kids, I think we can be real successful. Horsch, now she's one that it seems there's just certain players that don't shy away from taking that big shot, and she's got that high-arcing 3 ball, but she's one of those players that the other team needs to know where she's at in those end-of-game situations. Yeah, definitely. And that's Shauna's personality. She's a kid that really isn't afraid of any kind of challenge and really embraces the moment. So that's always been her personality, and she's a kid that everything on the line you really want her on the floor because she's always going to play extremely hard, and she's a real intelligent kid. What's the next step for Lachey Holt in her evolution as a basketball player? Because we forget with all the awards she's gotten and so many great games where she just stuffs the stat sheet that she's still a relatively inexperienced competitive basketball player. Yeah, Shea, the two areas where she's got to improve. On the defensive end of the floor, she sometimes gets a little too aggressive with her on-the-ball defense, gets herself in foul trouble. She can fall asleep when she's off the ball, particularly in help side. So working on those two areas, that end of the floor. And the offensive end, just the decision-making at times. She's so dynamic and so aggressive getting to the basket. Just trying to get her to the point where she's more adept at recognizing when an opponent has 5 kids with a foot in the lane, finding the open person on the kick. Just because she can create really easy scoring opportunities for her teammates because of the level of talent that she has.
What do you know about Crown?
The thing with Crown is this is Kevin, their coach. It's his second year there. And with them in the last 2 years, what we've noticed is just a much higher level of organization, structure, discipline, and regardless of the opponent, regardless of the score, they play really hard.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, hopefully some people would say that of our program.
And what you stepped into here.
Yeah. But he's done a really good job with it. I think they've got an elevated level of talent this year. Compared to what they had last year. Unfortunately, Desiree Davis, who might be the most talented player, looks like she's not going to play tonight. She didn't play on Saturday when they took on Bemidji, and I think I saw her in street clothes earlier. And she's their point guard, probably the most dynamic kid with the ball on the offensive end of the floor. Usually they try to get the ball in her hands when being pressured. So that's unfortunate. I don't think she's going to be on the floor tonight, but they've got some newcomers who've got some talent, and they're going to play really, really hard. If you don't respect the fact that they're going to play hard all night, then they're going to make it a ball game.
2 more with head coach Sean Pinkerton. What did you think of the preseason ranking? I know that turned some heads here in the building.
Yeah, to be honest, we weren't happy with it. I really felt that we should have been ranked a little bit higher, but it was very close, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think we're separated 41 or 42 points down to 34, so really tight in there. But I think we're a better team than that. It's probably a good thing because it allows us an opportunity to say, okay, here's where we're at. We'll use it as a motivating factor. I'm very strongly convinced we're better than the 11th place team in the conference. So now it's just go out and prove it. So it's probably a good thing that we were ranked there because it allows us to have some bulletin board material.
Get you out of here on this one. You still get excited for an opening night situation. Now your players get to play some competition on the other side who isn't, just Wildcats on Wildcats in practice. And it is the start of a new season, kind of, hope springs eternal right on that opening night.
Definitely. We had a couple really good. We had a good exhibition with Morehead State. One played a very competitive scrimmage with River Falls. Those were great. But to get on the floor in a meaningful game, this counts in the win-loss column. We're definitely very ready and anxious to get going.
Coach, good to see you again, and best of luck this season and tonight on opening night.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we are ready for basketball in the Butler Center in St. Kate. St. Catherine University is the place. Matt Nelson alongside of our engineer, Glenn Thompson. They'll introduce the starting lineups for Crown College and their Storm, along with your St. Kate's University Wildcats. Reminder for those of you, it's been a while since you've tuned in to our broadcasts on tjsportsonline.net. I'm Matt, he's Glenn. Tom Witchin is in the house. He's going to sit back and enjoy some basketball as well and keep us company. But we want you, the listener, to keep us company as well. You can write into the inbox. We want to hear from you, the fan, tonight, where it is you're listening from and who you're rooting for. It can be a player, it can be a team, whatever. floats your boat, send us an email, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Right ahead of our 7:30 tip-off here in the Midwest time zone in St. Paul, the capital city of the land of 10,000 lakes. So let's take a look at the starting lineups for both of these basketball teams. First for Crown College and their Storm opening up their season out of the UMAC Conference. Andrea Bessa gets a start. Sophomore guard, 5-footer out of Geronimo, Texas. Hannah Malone, 5'7", another underclassman. This one's a freshman, West Salem, Wisconsin, 5'7" guard. Leah Brakefield, 5'8", junior, Conroe, Texas, guard, is in the backcourt, wears number 22. Jessica Klaustermeyer, 5'10", junior out of Waconia, Minnesota, listed as a guard, essentially a forward, goes into the front court and wears number 35. Sam Maurer, 5'10", junior, Rochester, Minnesota, a post player, wears number 45. Your starting five once again for Crown College and their Storm: Bessa, Malone, Brakefield, Klaustermeyer, and Maurer. For St. Kate's and the Wildcats, their first game of the season, last year 10-15 overall, 5-13 in the MIAC, 4-8 in the friendly confines of the Butler Center. The 10 wins last season was more than the prior 3 seasons combined. Their starting lineup for their fourth year head coach Sean Pinkerton: Shauna Horsch, 5'9", senior, Inver Grove Heights; Mari Lee, 5'10", junior, Dawson Boyd High School. The 2014 and 15, the MIAC field goal percentage champion with 62%. Megan Audra Clark in the backcourt. Sophomores: Kenyon Wanamingo High School in Kenyon, Minnesota, and Kennedy Jennings, 5'11", junior, Grimes, Iowa. Lachey Holt will be the first one off of the bench. Jennings in the circle to take the tip for the Wildcats, and it'll be won by Crown as she's bested that time by Sam Maurer. Ball goes out of bounds, and it'll be Crown's. Early goings here. Changes in women's basketball across the NCAA. No longer are 20-minute halves, rather now 4 10-minute quarters. After 5 fouls in the 10-minute quarters, the team's going to what amounts to double bonus, double free throw shooting situations. So off we go. Hannah Malone will control the offense. She's guarded tightly by Clark. Now she'll defer at top of the key. Brakefield, right-hand side wing. Handled by Klaustermeyer. Now coming across was Malone, and she was fouled immediately by Audra Clark. Her first foul, sophomore, Kenyon Wanamingo High School. Audra Clark, all first-year team last year in the MIAC. First foul against either team, 15 seconds in at the Butler Center. This one again tapped out of bounds, but it's Wildcat ball. Klaustermeyer lost it off of her foot, and the Wildcats will have their first possession at 2015-16. Sean Pinkerton urging Audra Clark to push it into the front court. Now Jennings has it. Look down low for Clark. Nobody was there. Back up top, Lee handles and threw it away right at the Crown bench. Both teams with early turnovers as we're 30 seconds in the first quarter. That's going to take some getting used to, the quarters as opposed to the halves in MIAC basketball. 3 on the way for Crown. That ball was short, but the rebound hauled in by Bessa. Brown will swing it around. That's where Klaustermeyer pump fakes, drives, layup no good. Horsch had the rebound, lost it. Jennings came up with it. Now Clark ahead for Meg Clark. She'll drive it to the basket. Shot's no good, but she was fouled as she went crashing in. A foul against, I believe, Hannah Malone will send Clark to the free throw line. It is the first foul against Hannah Malone, the freshman out of West Salem, Wisconsin. Sends Audra Clark to the, Meg Clark to the free throw line where she knocks her first down. Meg listed at 5'6", Audra 5'7", and the second free throw no good off of the back iron, rebounded by Crown, and Klaustermeyer, who pushes the pace the other way, blows right by Clark and lays it in. A rebound and a coast-to-coast score for Jessica Klaustermeyer, junior, Waconia, Minnesota. Puts Crown on top 2-1. Pass down low. Lee kicks outside. Meg Clark pump fake. Pulls up. Shot no good. Rebound to her sister Audra, who retreats it off into the corner. Finds Jennings slicing to the basket, and Kennedy Jennings lays it in for her first bucket of the season. Junior, Grimes, Iowa, 5'11", two-way player, guard forward. Puts the Wildcats on top 3-2. First quarter, 8:30 left. Down low, Klaustermeyer's shot was blocked by Jennings, and Lee collects. Audra Clark pushes the pace ahead. Now that's Meg Clark on the left side. She pulls it up. Lee just inside of the arc. That's off. Rebound tipped into the hands of Klaustermeyer, and Crown College will push the pace up now, turn back and set up the offense as Horsch defends the ball and tips it out of bounds. A turnover for Crown, last touched by Klaustermeyer. Called her a junior out of Waconia. And a correction. She's a sophomore. College goes fast enough without broadcasters tagging additional years on you and taking those years of eligibility away. Clark thought about it around a Lee screen. Now picked up her dribble, found Jennings on the baseline. She'll float it down low for Lee. She got triple teamed, kicked it out for Horsch. Back into the middle of the floor for Lee. She had it poked away. The spacing for St. Kate's is all off right now. 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and Clark had it pulled right out of her hands by Hannah Malone. The steal and the score. Malone puts Crown College on top 4-3. Not the prettiest or most attractive offensive possession the Wildcats will have this season. Audra Clark spins, throws, nobody home. Meg Clark came up with it. Now Lee, down low, Jennings, one dribble off of the window. It's 5-4 Wildcats. Jennings has 4 of the Wildcats' 5 points. Reminder, folks, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Saw we had our first into the inbox. We'll check it with 7:10 left in the first quarter. Danette Jennings writes in. Hey guys, new website looks great. Emailing from Jackson, Mississippi to support the Cats. Danette and Thomas writing in. Thanks, Danette. Great to hear from you, and a good start for Kennedy Jennings. 4 of the 5 for the Wildcats right now. Has them on top with 6:58 left in the first quarter. Horsch around a screen. Pick and roll. Found Jennings, who was bumped from behind and fouled. Katie Hinkle's in off of the bench and promptly commits her first foul. The second against Crown College here in the first quarter. Again, keep in mind now these rule changes. 4 quarters of 10 minutes. And after the 5th foul, 2 shots. Lee had it tipped away, and the Storm come up with it. Sam Maurer underneath the basket, her first touch. Another fresh face off of the bench. That was Begay pushing it down the floor. Another kicked ball out of bounds. This one, though, will stay with the Storm. I neglected to mention on our first email into wildcatsbooth@gmail.com that Danette had mentioned that they are Kennedy's #1 fan, but there are 2 of them writing in, so it's hard to decipher who truly is the #1 fan. Crown College just took the lead. The pass came in quickly, and it was laid in by Klaustermeyer. She has 4. It's 6-5 going the other way. It's Clark driving through the defense, and Audra Clark, her first bucket of the night. All first-year team last season, and the all-freshman. A great campaign for Audra Clark as she got herself acquainted with college basketball. Here's a turnover as Begay threw it into the hands of Clark, and the Wildcats pay back the favor as it's chased down by Andrea Bessa. So far, we've got 6 made baskets and 5 turnovers. Not a clean or crisp beginning for either team. 3 on the way. Hinkle, no good. Lee the rebound. Clark ahead for Meg Clark. Nifty pass. Jennings uncontested has 6 points. It's 9-6 Wildcats. Good start offensively for Jennings for St. Kate's. A perfect 3 out of 3 on her way to those 6 points. A 3-point lead for the Wildcats. Pass down low for Maurer is thrown away. Another turnover. And it's Wildcats ball. Kayla Carter in for the first time for Crown. 4.5 minutes into the game. 5-13 last season in the MIAC, where the Wildcats. Lachey Holt in for the first time. She's playing the role of that spark plug off of the bench. It's not often that you'll see a team that won 5 conference games pull an all-MIAC first-team honoree off of their bench, but that's exactly what Sean Pinkerton does here. Last season, Holt, 3rd in the conference with just over 16 points per game, led the league with just under 10 rebounds per contest, but tonight she plays the role of the 6th man. Pass comes in quickly for Jennings. She went up through a lot of contact. No whistle. The shot was no good. Hinkle came up with it. It's Crown's ball. 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the ball game. Becerra has it around the screen. She's inside of the arc on the right-hand side wing. Into the corner she went. Begay a couple of spins, dishes, Becerra, and she knocks down a three. Marissa Becerra, sophomore out of Rosenberg, Texas, ties us at 9 apiece. Lachey Holt going the other way, drives through the defense and lays it in off of the window. 5'8". Lachey Holt listed as a guard, more of a point forward in this offense. Begay through the defense, kicks, baseline shot. Carter, nothing doing. Clark had the rebound, lost it, navigated some traffic into the front court. Could have called a carry, they didn't. Now Audra Clark drives baseline, and that's up and in. The Wildcats getting the bulk of their scoring on layups and interior passes. Not many shots taken so far from the outside. 13-9, a 4-point lead for St. Kate's. Begay up top. Becerra, Jennings pressures. Top of the key collected by Kayla Carter, and she's fouled by Lee. 3:59 left. The foul against Lee is her first and the second against St. Kate's here in the first quarter. Lachey Holt led the Wildcats last year in nearly every category, led the league in rebounds, third in points per game, and in conference games, Holt was even better. 10 rebounds per game and the 16 per, second most in the MIAC for both. So when the competition was better, Holt was better. Drive to the basket, Begay was fouled by one of the newcomers, Alexis Christensen. Her first foul for the freshman out of Fairmont, Minnesota. 4-point deficit for Crown, and they will send Begay to the free throw line. First shot is up and long. A 13-4 lead. A reminder, folks, providing innovative food and beverage solutions since 1955. Midwest Vending, servicing organizations large and small throughout the Twin Cities, including St. Kate's. Proud to offer unwavering integrity, in-demand products, innovative technology, and personal attention. Give them a call, 952-707-1990, or visit MidwestVending.com. Begay goes 1 of 2 on her trip to the free throw line. The Wildcats have the ball and a 3-point lead in the first quarter. Horsch thought about a three, instead drives with the left hand, got to the basket, went up, and found the goal with a one-hander. Southpaw touch for Horsch. It's 15-10, and now a whistle in the backcourt. Crown wants a timeout, and they'll get it. I'll do the same and step aside. We'll talk more about the season ahead, talk some about last year, and bring you the rest of the first quarter when we come back. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball. Bring it back into the Butler Center. Matt and Glenn. Tom Witchen's even here keeping us company today with his effervescent attitude as always. I said you're keeping us company today, Tom, with that effervescent attitude that you always bring and that pearly white smile of yours. Tom has volunteered to sing the national anthem a cappella, but was turned down by the game day crew here at the Butler Center. And thank heavens for that. Holt tied up the Marissa Becerra. It's a jump ball. Possession arrow favors the home team, the Crown, I should say, so they'll keep the rock. Reminder, folks, transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines, Inc. They're dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation, 888-670-8068, or visit the website, northfieldlines.com. Wildcats booth at gmail.com is where you can find us. Wildcats getting their season underway. Their next home game will be on the 24th against North Central, a 7 o'clock tip-off on that one. The 24th, so a week from tomorrow, and they'll open up the MIAC season on December 3rd against Bethel. They got the possession arrow figured out. It is Wildcats ball after the jump ball. Just had to get it squared away at the scorer's table. Alexis Garcia in for the first time alongside Holt, Horsch, Meg Clark, and the newcomer Christensen, who's got the ball on the right wing right now. 3:14 left in the first quarter. Horsch defers. Horsch now again comes all the way around, launches a three. That's off of the backside of the iron, and rebounded by Crown and Hannah Malone. Malone pushing the pace. Begay into the paint. Now Brakefield had it. Her shot was no good. Rebounded underneath by Alexis Christensen. Holt in transition, bumped and fouled. Fourth foul of the first quarter against Crown. And it belongs to Charmaine Begay, her first, junior, Chinle, Arizona. Boy, a physical transformation for Lachey Holt is hard to miss. 3 on the way. That's an air ball by Meg Clark, and it's Crown's basketball. A leaner, meaner Lachey Holt. Well, I can't say if she's meaner, but certainly a really athletic-looking Lachey Holt. And she's going to be counted on to play 35, 37 minutes a game for this team. So endurance and conditioning so important. And she looks just poised to dominate again in this conference. They called Meg Clark for a foul in the middle of that scrum. Her first, both teams with 4 fouls. I don't know if I like the quarters particularly myself. It puts another end a quarter, end a half, another buzzer situation. Another couple, one of those in each game. Pass ahead after the turnover. Clark to the basket, was fouled and laid it in. Clark and one. And Clark with 3 points goes to the free throw line after the 5th foul against Crown. A foul will be assessed to Hannah Malone. A freshman is called for her first. Clark, free throw, nothing but the bottom of the net. She's got 4. 18 points so far for the Cats, 4 from Clark, 6 from Jennings, and 4 from Audra Clark as well. So the Clarks got 8, 4 apiece. 18-10 your score. What do you think of the quarters? Write us, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Let's have a healthy debate about quarters versus halves. 6-1, half a dozen to another. I don't know, maybe. We still play 20 minutes, a half. There is just that additional break put in there. Pass down low for Holt was a floater. She came up with it, turned and scored right away. Again, no chance to slow down Lachey Holt. She now has 4, and the Wildcats have doubled up Crown early, 20-10. Malone, top of the key. Carter threw it away into the bleachers. Carter missed her mark. Nobody was honed. Crown will go back into their bench. Andrea Bessa back in. And Sam Maurer as well. .90 seconds left in the first quarter. Holt, nifty dribbling, jacks up a 3 and buries it. Seven points for Holt and a 13-point lead for St. Kate's. One thing you can say about tonight's game at the Butler Center, it is not the most ruckus showing of purple-clad CAD faithful that you'll see out at the Butler Center. Nifty pass, Horsch found Holt on the move, couldn't finish it off, layup no good. Christensen had the rebound, now comes up with it. Shot of the corner was no good. Clark came up with it, but stepped out of bounds. .13-point lead for the Wildcats. Crown with the basketball, staring down a big deficit early in St. Paul. Bessa had it poked away. She comes back up top. Brakefield into the paint. Maurer around Holt. Shot rattled off of the back iron. Garcia up with the rebound. Shot clock is down. 15 seconds left in the first quarter. Wildcats can hold it for the last shot. Garcia for Horsch. Left-hand side wing. Top of the key, Christensen. Hands off. Holt around her screen. Crossover dribble. Off of the elbow. Shot up and down. Boy, she's awfully good. Lachey Holt is awfully good. She's got 9 points to lead all scores off of the bench. And the Wildcats dominate the first quarter. They win at 25-10. We'll go to the second quarter with the Wildcats on top by 15. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball on TJSportsOnline.net. Welcome back to St. Paul. We go to the second quarter with the Wildcats on top 25-10. Matt Nelson alongside of cult hero Glenn Thompson, our engineer. Tom Witchen's in the house somewhere. He wandered away. Heaven only knows where he found himself. Yeah, he's schmoozing somebody. You can be sure of that. Proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics, going all the way back to 1971. The Universal Athletic Team. They've been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that by servicing and selling athletic gear to your local athletes, high schools, colleges. Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. So check out Universal Athletic, a proud sponsor of St. Kate's Wildcats basketball. And these sponsors, they enhance the student-athlete experience. They make these broadcasts possible. I was saying earlier, not to be overtly critical, but it's not the craziest collection of Wildcat fans you'll ever see here tonight. We've had moments that normally would draw huge pops, and it sounded like a library in here. Jennings couldn't finish off her drive. Rebound, Crown College. Maybe they all stayed home. Let's explore this theory. It's a rainy, cold night. Maybe they all stayed home to watch on tjsportsonline.net. Glenn, what do you think of that hypothesis? Ooh, nifty basketball there by Crown, but good closeout defense. Lee forced the miss by Klaustermeyer. She somehow got it back. They found Bessa. She went through the defense and double dribbled it. Bessa, the diminutive 5-footer out of Geronimo, Texas. Nifty ball handling skills and able to go through the trees and find a shot, but double dribbled on our way to it. This is a good looking group of five right here. Lots of talent on the floor in between Jennings, Holt, Clark, both of the Clarks, and Lee. This is probably the premier five for St. Kate's this season, should they all stay healthy. Audra Clark, one dribble, her shot out of the post, bricks off of the back iron, rebound Crown a minute into the second quarter. Last season, so many close games as Crown turns it over. So many close games for Sean Pinkerton's team. The Wildcats lost 7 games by 10 points or less. And the Wildcats are hoping some of their experience this year in those close games and learning how to finish some of them out will propel them to that next level in the MIAC. Although, if you gauge preseason polls, the respect for this program isn't there just yet. They were picked to finish second last. Lee got fouled by Maurer from behind, but they're going to call the foul on Charmaine Begay as well. She had a lot of the contact. Her second foul, the first of the second quarter for Crown. So Lee to the free throw line to shoot a pair. First shot is good. Lee is on the board with her first points of the night. Free throw shooting so far, Wildcats are 4 of 5 as Lee goes 2 for 2. Makes good on both. 27-10. Dominant effort so far. Crown 4-12 from the floor. St. Kate's 57% right now at 11-4-19. Also 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Not much stuff going on outside of the arc. Wildcats have tried 4 of them. Crown a pair as well. The two teams are combined 1 for 6. Crown 1 for 2. Wildcats 1 for 4. 8:22 left in the first half. Last season, Lachey Holt double-doubles in 12 games and had a triple-double against McAllister. Double digits in scoring 21 times, scored 20 or more 6 times, and led the team in scoring in 11 games. In just 2 seasons, Holt is already 14th all-time at St. Kate's with 733 points. 3 on the way. Clark, that's short. Lachey Holt the rebound. One dribble up with the left hand, and off of the window, it's good. Lachey Holt has 11 points. It's a 19-point lead for St. Kate's. Wildcats an even draw in rebounding, 9-9. Audra Clark came up with a turnover. Clark pushes the pace, pulls up at the free throw line, leans into the layup, and scores it. It is 31-10. 6 points for Audra Clark. 7:30 left in the second quarter, and what's quickly becoming a rout in St. Paul. Down low, Lee the block shot as Bessa couldn't squeeze it off. Pass ahead, Meg Clark, layup, no good, but fouled on her way to the basket. They caught Jessica Klaustermeyer. Second foul. No, instead they're going to call it on Kayla Carter, the freshman out of Pierce, Minnesota. That'll send Meg Clark to the free throw line to shoot a pair. First one planks off of the front iron. Mention you got Meg Clark at the free throw line. But boy, last season Audra Clark, second amongst all first years in scoring with 13 per game, 14 per contest in the conference. That was 10th best in the league. Also finished 8th in the MIAC for assists per game and 14th for steals per game, running back 2014-15. And again, those 10 wins, you know, can be deceiving. You go 10-15, 5-3 in the MIAC. But those 10 wins were more than the past 3 seasons combined. So by any metric, that's substantial progress. The question now becomes, can you take that next step? I mentioned the preseason rankings as that one got poked away in the corner. Good defense by Annie Shobin coming in off of the bench. But Begay, just outside of the free throw line, knocked it down. She's got 3 points. Holt into the corner, 3 on the way. Shobin, that's short. Rebound by Klaustermeyer. The preseason polls turned some heads inside of the Butler Center. Foul away from the basketball as Shea got all tangled up with Kayla Carter. That'll knock the rust off quickly. You look at the preseason poll, Bethel leading the way with 116 votes, 7 first place votes for the Royals. Picked to finish first. Their volleyball team doing great things into the late fall as well, as Holt got tangled up with Charmaine Begay, and she got called for the foul on Holt's dribble. I've got Begay for her 3rd foul. It is her 3rd. That'll earn her a spot on the bench. 116 votes for the Royals, 7 first place votes. That's more than second best St. Thomas. Again, these are just preseason polls. They don't really amount to nothing at the end of the year, but they are fun to talk about. 7 first place votes for Bethel. Down low, Shobin nearly got the handle but lost it over the baseline. It will stay with Crown. St. Thomas right on their heels in the preseason polls with 112 votes. 5 first place votes for the Tommies. Bethel and St. Thomas, the only 2 to receive first place votes, as Maurer missed on her layup. Holt came up with, and then she got fouled. Crown racking up the fouls here in the 3rd quarter. That's their 4th. Maurer called for her first as she grabbed Holt in a walk. So Bethel and St. Thomas get first place votes from the 12 coaches. Gustavus came in 3rd with 104 votes. Holt into the lane, came up short, got a rebound, and put it back into the cylinder. Holt has a baker's dozen. It's 33-12. Officially a blowout. Crown lost it off of the foot of Lee. That's Beasley in. All right, now Glenn asks a pertinent question that some of you might be asking, and I'm going to illuminate it for you, Glenn. Get out your notepad here, my son. I say that jokingly for you listeners. That's what Glenn lovingly refers to me as. At least I think it's lovingly. We don't know. It might be sarcastically. But 12 coaches, but the voting is tiered. So a first place vote has a certain number of points or votes tabulated to it. A second place vote is worth so many, third place vote worth so many, and so on and so forth. So that's how 12 coaches come up with 116 or 112 points in your preseason coaches poll. Turnover stolen away by Klaustermeyer. He's guarded tightly by Shobin. Now Maurer one-on-one with Lee. She'll hand it off. Klaustermeyer traveled. They didn't call it. Got it down low for Carter. Her shot was blocked. Tipped back in by Bessa. And Crown got bailed out by a foul. They're going to call Jennings for her the second foul of the second quarter for St. Kate's. So Bethel and St. Thomas, the first place votes. Gustavus in third place. The Gusties 104 preseason points in that coach's poll. Concordia and the Commerce 84 points, puts them in fourth place. St. Ben's in fifth, 78 points. The Augies picked to finish sixth with 66 points. They have a new head coach, Ted Reverso, former University of Minnesota assistant coach under Pam Borton, taking over in tough times there. Bill McKee passed away in the offseason. Boy, what a guy he was. Unbelievable. Jennings went up, got fouled, and made the bucket off of the window. Wildcats not taking too many shots outside of 6-7 feet. Jennings will take her 8 points to the free throw line. Bill McKee, though, boy, oh boy, our hearts go out to the Augsburg college basketball family as he passed away in the offseason. Bill was a great man. I called Bill's last game as Augsburg head coach. It was a playoff game against St. Thomas after they got that big road upset against Concordia last year. The first ever win in women's basketball for the Augies. Rebound and a bucket for Kayla Carter, freshman out of Piers, high off of the window. That's the lead to 22. I talked to Sean Pinkerton as Garcia loads up on a three, did everything but go down. Offensive rebound, Clark back up, and then Audra Clark aboard and a score. Talked to Sean pre-game. You didn't hear it on our conversation that aired on the pregame show, but we talked about Bill McKee, and Sean had nothing but the best things to say about him. No secret that Sean thought a certain guard for the Augies last year had her moments that were worthy of review by the conference, and he said, I called Bill and I said, I'm turning this into the conference, and he said he handled it like I would hope I would handle it, and it sounded like these two guys would get together at AAU tournaments when they were recruiting players and share stories and talk basketball and talk shop, and it's just a darn shame. So our thoughts are with the Augsburg basketball family. Ted Reverso is their newly named head coach. He's experienced, coached for a long time at St. Thomas, and as I mentioned as well, with the Gophers women's basketball team. Pass deflected. Somehow Maurer got it and scored uncontested. Maurer with her first 2 points. But I can share a similar story if you'll indulge me. We did that game on TJ Sports Online last year, Augsburg against St. Thomas, and it just seemed like a normal playoff game. Exciting postseason action, but we did our pregame show with Bill, and we did the same thing. We sat around and talked basketball for 10-15 minutes, and those are special memories for sure. Lee's first free throw is good. She goes to the free throw line. 3 points now for Lee. 39-16 your score. 3:42 left here in the first half. 7th spot in the coaches poll, the preseason coaches poll for the MIAC, is Lee's second. Rattles in and out of St. Mary's, 61 points. Then you fall down into kind of what I call the third tier of teams, at least as the coaches see it in the preseason. There's a definite top, middle, bottom in the coaches' eyes. Bethel and St. Thomas are the only two that get the first place votes. They're in your top tier for expectations. Then you've got Gustavus, Concordia, St. Ben's, Augsburg, and St. Mary's all bunched up in the middle of the conference. They go 3 to 8. Then how are these last few spots going to shake out? Because the top tier of this bottom portion towards the end of the season, they're going to be competing for a playoff spot. So you've got St. Olaf picked to finish 8th with 42 votes, Carleton 41, Hamlin 37, St. Kate's 34, and McAllister 17. Oh, that was a travel against Beasley. They didn't call it. Crown's best player, Desiree Davis Jr. out of Houston, is out. 3 on the shot clock. They'll have to force one up. Becerra, and she hit it. Marissa Becerra. Becerra with 5, inside of 3 minutes left in the second quarter. Clark at the free throw line. She got bumped and fouled and will shoot 2. 5th foul against Crown. And that foul is going to go against Becerra, her first. So St. Olaf picked to finish 8th, Carleton 41st, Hamlin 37, St. Kate's 34, and McAllister 17, which means that some teams picked McAllister to finish ahead of potentially St. Kate's, who you'd have to imagine they put in the final spot of their preseason polls. Sean didn't pull any strings. He's in his 4th season, and he's a pretty straight shooting guy. That he felt like that was some monkey business in those preseason polls. He feels like they're better than Hamlin. He feels like, barring injuries, they're better than McAllister. They can compete with St. Olaf and Carleton. Time will tell. It's the games that matter. But the preseason polls definitely should motivate St. Kate's as they head into their season and face stiffer competition than they've gotten so far tonight from Crown. Following tonight's opener has another foul. This one offensive is called on that end of the floor. Audra Clark, her second called on the offensive end. 2:30 left in the second quarter. Wildcats are going to head west for a couple of games. They'll go to the Occidental College before returning home for 2 more non-conference contests. They begin play in the MIAC. I mentioned December 2nd against Bethel. That'll be in Arden Hills. Their home opener in conference play. They'll host Hamlin on December 5th in what is their home opener. That one's forced out. Davis in. She's on the floor. Somehow rolled it to Horsch. Davis, a two-way player, also plays volleyball. Garcia came up with it and knocked it down from the free throw line. That's 42-18. 24 points is the lead for St. Kate's inside of 2 minutes left here in the first half. Pass down low. Maurer came up with it. Her shot high off of the window. Comes up empty. Garcia will hand it off for Chauvin. Horsch, best scorer on the floor right now for the Wildcats, will defer for Alexis Christensen. Her shot was long. Horsch couldn't come up with a rebound. Contact down low. Whistles and a foul against Crown. No, they're going to call it against Davis for the Wildcats. 5th foul against Davis. To 20 your score. Wildcats with the ball. These NCAA rule changes, they take effect all across women's basketball. D1, D2, D3, the switch to quarters and the automatic double bonus after the 5 fouls rather than a 20-minute half and a single bonus after 7 and double after 10. Chauvin off of the elbow. That shot was short. Maurer the rebound. We've got a minute left in the first half. Also, as part of the 4 periods format, the halftime is officially called intermission now, not halftime. So get your stories straight, Glenn. I'm looking at it right here. I'm serious, the NCAA. Intermission, not halftime when you play quarters, because it's not a halftime because we don't play halves. So what do you think of that action? I wonder if even Tom knew that. 30 seconds left and 30.8 seconds left and 30 on the shot clock as the Wildcats should have the last possession. We'll see after the 2 free throws for Malone. Tom Witchen rejoins us up here. Witchy, did you know that it's no longer called halftime? It's now called intermission, not halftime. We'll see if an old dog can really learn new tricks on your next broadcast. What's that? It's a long timeout, an intermission. It is still halfway through the game. essentially no shot clock, 27 on the game clock, 27 on the shot clock. The difference is a couple of milliseconds, a couple hundredths of a second. Garcia for Horsch. Practice, and Sean Pinkerton wants a timeout, a 30-second one. 16 seconds left in the second quarter. So those are the new changes in women's basketball. As a result, you get more end of quarter situations, obviously, than just the end of the first half and the end of the game. So there's more for coaches to think about on how you want to manage the end of a quarter. You get that extra break mixed in there where the teams don't need to use the timeouts. And obviously the way teams foul cracks down different too, because now 5 fouls and you immediately go double bonus. Or what was once, explained as the double bonus. And no halftime. .13 seconds left out of the Wildcat timeout. Christensen, couple dribbles. Chauvin, one dribble left hand, looks at a three, fires a three, and knocks down a three. 3 seconds left for Crown, now one. Last second heave, well short. And we go to intermission. 45-22 is your score. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll check out our sponsors. We'll take a look at the first half stats. We'll break it. Reminder, folks, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Twin Cities Orthopedics, Elsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Push Pedal Pull, Midwest Vending, Best Western in Bloomington, Cone Elevators and Escalators. Wildcat supporters also include Loeffler Business Solutions, McGo Construction, Dolan Printing, the Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shapco Printing, Rachel Contracting, and the Opus Group. 45-23, a 23-point lead at the intermission for St. Kate's over Crown College and their Storm. Let's take a short break. We'll check the halftime stats. We might even be able to hear from one of the Wildcat players. Let me do a little research on that here from the Butler Center. I believe it's Lee. We'll hear from Mari Lee at some point during the half as well. They do a Tuesday take. We'll hear from some of the student athletes. We'll check the stats. 45-22 at the intermission. Wildcats on top.
Last year I felt like
All right, let's bring it back into the Butler Center. It's the intermission, 45-22 your score. Wildcats on top of Crown College and the Storm. Matt Nelson alongside of our engineer Glenn Thompson. Tom Witchens here keeping me company too and keeping me honest, if nothing else. Shauna Horsch, a couple of points. Mari Lee with 3. Meg Clark at 4. Audra Clark 9. Kennedy Jennings, a hot start. She's got 9 on 4 of 5 shooting. Christensen did not score. Garcia with a pair. Annie Chauvin 3. Lachey Holt 6 of 9 for 13 points. Crown College shoots just 36% in the first half, and they get their scoring from Malone 6 points. Fostermeyer 4. Sam Maurer a pair, Begay 3, Kayla Carter chipped in with a pair, Becerra had 5. Hey, let's hear again from head coach Sean Pinkerton. He previews this basketball season, brought to you by St. Kate's Wildcats Athletics.
Last year I felt like our biggest challenge was at times a lack of depth for a variety of reasons. And so with that lack of depth comes a very, very small margin for error. And so when you get into a tight ball game, it really makes the difference between winning and losing. We've had some kids who now with another year's worth of experience I think are in a position where they're ready to contribute more significantly. And then on top of that we've got the 3 freshmen. The 3 freshmen we brought in do a variety of things well. I think that they will be in a position where they will contribute for us fairly early on in their college careers. And it's just going to be an adjustment for them going from the high school game to the college game and assessing at what point in time they're able to give us some contributions on the floor in meaningful minutes. We have pretty clearly defined for our program over the last several years that our objective each year is to be better than we were the previous year. And that's something that we've accomplished each of the 3 seasons that have been here so far. And it's something that we look to carry forward again this year. I think that with our season, it's a very fluid process of assessing where we're at and where we need to be and what changes need to be made for us to be more successful. But ultimately, we need to make sure that we're in a position where we're constantly making strides towards being more successful. And so if we have a better overall outcome each season than we did the previous year, we can't help but at some point in time reach where we want to be as a program.
All right, that was Sean Pinkerton looking ahead to the season. We'll keep it right here at the intermission, 45-22, St. Kate's on top. Let's hear from Mari Lee, Tuesday's Take, with the junior out of Dawson Boyd. She starts off by talking about what she enjoys most about being a student athlete.
What I enjoy most about being a student athlete at St. Kate's is the community and the support from the athletic department, but also from the whole school. I chose to attend St. Kate's because my sister came here and I got to know the coaches a lot before coming here, and they really influenced my decision on coming here, and the campus and the community around here is really pretty. During my time here, I've grown as a leader on and off the court from the opportunities my coaches have given me.
All right, it's the intermission. Let's hear now from head hockey coach Brad Marshall and look ahead to the 2015-16 season.
Always, in the beginning of the year, that's one of our goals that we want to try to reach, but that's so far away. We just really are going to concentrate on consistency this year. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, whatever the schedule has us going at. But yeah, the playoffs, we want to get back there, but it's more about what we need to do throughout the regular season, week in, week out. So we're really right now talking a lot about that. Consistency is a big word, not only with individuals but as a team as well. But yeah, we want to be playing in late February, that's for sure. Yeah, I think some of our stronger aspects this year coming back. Our defensemen, we didn't graduate any defensemen. We have a couple new ones that are ready to step in pretty much right away. Both our goaltenders are back. Abby White had a really solid second half of the year. She was up at the top or tied at the top for save percentage as a sophomore. Kristen is back, looks really good, had a good summer. So I think our defensive core back there with all the returners coming back at D, and both our goalies are going to set us up well for, hopefully having another good defensive year. We need Mallory, Ryan, our team captain, Randy Fabsit, both our senior Ds. They need to have solid years. Again, they look good. already after a week and a half. So we're going to put a lot of pressure on them to hold us in some games defensively. But back from the net out to the blue line, it looks really good so far. Yeah, losing Megan Kilmer, a 4-year starter for us, and Bailey Rasmussen, a 3-year starter for us, some of our key offensive weapons last year. But we're real excited about some of these young kids we have coming in. But the older girls like Jordan Solheim, who's a junior now, she's going to carry the load a lot for us this year, key face-off person. Senior Annie Buttermore looks good in practice so far. We have a transfer in Karis Volk. Those three are actually our so-called top line right now. So Karis, Jordan, and Annie look good. Our new people, first years, are just getting their feet wet. They're trying to keep up with the pace right now. But Lakin Muller looks pretty good. Natalie West out of Wisconsin, another tall, lanky, pretty good hands as a freshman. She looks good as well. So, losing Megan and Bailey, a lot of our scoring from last year, but we have some girls in practice who look really good. So what we're saying right now is, hey, if you can score against our goalies in practice, that's pretty good. So, yeah, we're scoring goals at a pretty good pace right now in practice.
It's intermission at the Butler Center, 45-22 the lead for the Wildcats. Reminder, big thanks to our sponsors: Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shepco Printing, Rachel Contracting, the Opus Group, Cone Elevators and Escalators, Best Western in Bloomington, Midwest Vending, Push Pedal Pull, Twin Cities Orthopedic, Ellsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, and Northfield Lines. Matt, along with Glenn and Tom, the first half stats: Crown College shoots 34%. They even draw on rebounding, 17-17. Wildcats a nice half shooting, 18-34. That's 52%. They outscore Crown College 25-10 in the first quarter, 20-12 in the second quarter. You add that all up, and it's 45-22. So far, leading all scores in 10 minutes. Lachey Holt, 6 of 9, 13 points. We're going to take a break. When I bring you back in, it's the third quarter from St. Paul. All right, that's enough talk about holiday plans here off of the air. Let's bring you back into St. Paul in the Butler Center. It's intermission, winding it down towards the third quarter, 45-22. Off of the air, we were getting the full rundown on beverage selections for holiday parties from Tom Witchen, Glenn Thompson, begging for invites to Christmas parties. Out of sheer pity alone, invitations have been sent in the mail or via Facebook for our engineer, Glenn, who works so hard to make us look good and sound good, and he does a darn good job at it, and that's an unenviable task to be sure. 45-22, St. Kate's on top of Crown. You can imagine it's almost an impossible task to make some people like Tom and I look good, sound good, but Glenn tackles that challenge with a free spirit and positive attitude every time he shows up. We were talking in the break as Crown goes back to work offensively, trailing big here in the third quarter. Brakefield has the rock guarded by Jennings, surveying the defense, and 5 seconds. Brakefield stood there, stared down Kennedy for 5 seconds, so with the referee tooted the whistle, and 11 seconds into the third quarter, Crown has their 18th turnover. Jennings kicks Horsch left side wing. Wildcats first possession of this second half. Clark thought about a three. Instead, Audra has it. Now Horsch, all the action so far on top of the arc. Horsch jacks up a three. That's short. Rebound deflected for Lee, who kicks it to Shauna. Now back for Lee. Clark into the corner. High pass finds Audra. Clark crossover dribble into the lane. Kicks corner. Horsch three. That's short. Offensive rebound again. This time belongs to Clark. She chases it down. Horsch down low. Clark one dribble. Layup short, but she was fouled. And Clark will go to the free throw line. The first foul against Crown in the third quarter, and the second of the ball game against Hannah Malone. The rest of the discussion during the intermission as Clark goes to the free throw line centered primarily around holiday planning and Christmas decorations. 9 points now for Clark. She's in double digits and goes 2 for 2. We've come to the determination that Tom's compulsive buying of Christmas lights is going to lead to a Griswold-like breakdown of the power grid in Maplewood, a suburb of St. Paul. 47-22. That one tapped out of bounds, will stay with Crown. .901 left in the third quarter. So Tom was out there navigating boldly and bravely the ladder to make sure that his house was the best on the block for Christmas long before Thanksgiving. Three for Crown, air ball over the cylinder. Clark comes up with it and scoots it the other way. She'll hand it off for Audra. Drives right side, contact, shot no good, but Audra got her own rebound. One dribble, turn, shot long, and Crown lost the handle underneath the basket. It was Brakefield who had it, lost it, and gives possession back to the Wildcats. Subs coming in for Crown. They'll call Brakefield back to the bench, and Katie Hinkle, the junior out of Dow's, Iowa, will check in. Pass comes in for Lee. 62% last year, but today struggling from the floor. Shot was short. Clark tapped the rebound out of bounds. 8:32 left in the third quarter. So, informal polling of the room. Quarters or halves? What do you think there, big guy, Tom Witchen? You like the quarters? So you like it because high school did it long ago. 8-minute quarters in high school. Back in my day. So you're a back in my day kind of guy. Long before I was, what do they say? A twinkle in your mother and father's eye. 8:14 left in the third quarter. 47-22. St. Kate's well ahead of Crown College here in their home opener in 2015. Maurer got fouled on the way up by Lee. Glenn Thompson's vote is halves, and I'll do the same thing. Maurer to the free throw line with 8:07 left here in the third quarter. First shot is down. 3 points for the junior out of Rochester. Speaking of, you said high school as well back in the day. Maurer goes 2 for 2. She's got 4 points. 47-24 now. Been a busy time of year for high schools. They played the Prep Bowl at TCF Bank Stadium last week. Volleyball had their championships at the X. Look at Audra Clark go with the left hand. Audra Clark goes slicing through the defense, has a dozen, and pushes the lead to 25. And you got state swimming and diving this week too. You got your pulse, you got your finger on the pulse of everything going on. The hardest working man in broadcasting, Tom Witchen, keeping me company here tonight. Jennings fouled Ostermeyer on her way to the basket. The sophomore out of Waconia will go to the line to shoot too. I said the hardest working, not always the most pleasant man in the Minnesota broadcasting scene. But pleasant enough. Shot is up and good, 49-25. Yeah, regrettably, if you think this is bad, you should see us when Tom is off doing a game somewhere. Then it gets really serious. Heavy contact on the front iron, but Klostermeyer powers it through. She's got 5 points. And a turnover, it's poked away. Andrea Bessa, the steal and the score on the layup. Bessa, her first 2 points of the night. Holt kicks the corner, draws a crowd. Horsch, Lee thought about it, instead into the post. Clark, mismatch off of the window. Bessa has no chance against a scorer like Audra Clark. She's got 14 points. That leads all scorers. It's 51-28. Bessa guarded by Lee. About a foot in between them. Ostermeyer around Horsch. Her shot missed off of the backside of the backboard, but it was deflected by Horsch, which means it'll stay with Crown. You can hear that booming voice of Sean Pinkerton downstairs, still urging his troops on to continue to play hard. These are valuable minutes. He only gets so many non-conference games. And a foul against Jennings. A roll of the eyes from Kennedy as Katie Hinkle wound up on the floor one way or another. Both players listed from Iowa. Pass does come in, and it's Klostermeyer again. She's got 7 points as she found a way around Jennings. The deficit is 21 for Crown. The lead 21 for the Wildcats. Lee down low, shot no good. Got her own rebound around Meyer. Put it back in and scored. 5 for Lee. The junior, as hard as that is to believe, from Dawson Boyd High School. She must have been around this gym for a long time if she's a junior, because we called her older sisters games. Yeah. The duo from Dawson Boyd. Look at that spin move into the lane. Shot by Malone was off, and Audra Clark chases down the strong side rebound. Clark nifty dribbling as she was being harassed by Bessa, who eventually poked it away. Floating pass for Lee is deflected, and Malone collects the turnover. A steal for Crown. The other way we go. Balstermeyer down low, and that's off of the hands of Kayla Carter. Crown pays back the Wildcat turnover with one of their own. 5:59 left in the third quarter. One change other than the quarters is that the Wildcats changed their benches this year. In years past, as you look at your monitors and keyboards, they've been on the right-hand side. Now they've moved off to the left-hand side. Jennings, baseline drive and layup. It's worth noting, and it bears mentioning, the Wildcats feel like they have a lot to prove. Holt, a backcourt steal. Got it to Jennings. Fouled and one. Jennings having a big opening night. She's got 13 and goes to the free throw line for a chance to add to that total. The lead is 27. Simply put, this one was never really a game. Jennings makes good on the three-point play. Crown led 4-3 and 6-5. Tied it at 9-9, and that was as close as they've been all the way back in the first period. That's another thing. They're calling them periods, not quarters. But for me, periods are for hockey. They're calling it the 4 periods and an intermission. Jennings kicked it. It'll stay with Crown. Like I said, Tom, we'll see if you really can teach an old dog new tricks when they start throwing these quarters and intermissions at you. I'll be listening with an intense ear on your next broadcast. Turnover, stolen away. Audra Clark chased it down, went all the way, and laid it in. 60-30, the Wildcats lead it by 30 and have doubled up Crown here tonight. 16 points for Clark. Malone found Begay. She drove and bowled over Jennings. An offensive foul against Begay is the third of the third quarter for Crown. Holt, one-handed heave for Horsch. Thought about it, but instead back for Shea. One-on-one. Now Audra. Down low, there's Shea, and she was fouled immediately by Malone. No shot. The foul is the third of the third period for Crown. And for Malone, her third foul. Kennedy Jennings went all the way around the defense, got to the basket, and then missed a point blanker. Glenn asking if there's any emails into the Wildcats booth at gmail.com. No, sir. Just the one tonight so far. Coming all the way from Jackson, Mississippi. Horsch called for her second foul. 4:36 left in the third quarter. Becerra, lots of iron, but got it down. Marissa Becerra and her 6 points. Looking up at only Klaustermeyer with 7 to lead the way so far for Crown. Second shot is good as well for Becerra. She has 7 to lead the way for Crown, 60-32. The 30-point lead obviously was the largest of the night for the Wildcats. And this time, though, they turn it over. Nobody was home. The ball finds its way into the bleachers. Baseline shot for Crown. That goes in and out. Not much in the way of jump shooting here tonight for either team. Loose ball, jump ball, and the possession arrow is with the Wildcats leading by 28. They'll get the possession. Other basketball scores to report down in Storm Lake, Iowa. At the Siebens Fieldhouse, St. Thomas 94-79 win over Buena Vista. In non-conference MIAC action, Clark got it to Horsch, but behind that a foul is going to be called against Crown. Have you ever been to the Siebens Fieldhouse in Storm Lake, Iowa, Tom? No, that gets a no. Gustavus is in the fourth quarter against Martin Luther, 60-51. A 9-point lead for Gustavus in women's hoops. And then we've got obviously Crown and St. Kate's here tonight. On the men's side, Crown is hosting Carleton. Lee takes a look at the defense. There's Christensen, right back, give and go action around the screen. Garcia, Holt, 3, long, battle for the board, and it's going to be Crown basketball. They're going to call a foul against St. Kate's. Clark got tangled up going up for it, and they'll call Audra for her third foul. And the third foul against Audra Clark, the fifth against the home team, and that means 2 shots for Crown. So just 4 events tonight in the MIAC. All non-conference. The 1 men's basketball game and 3 women's basketball tilts. Becerra clanks her first. Tomorrow a busy night, 8 events around the conference. Some men's basketball games as well as women's basketball, a full slate. North Central hosting McAllister. That shot was good. Northwestern of St. Paul hosts the Augies. Do we have that on tjsportsonline.net, sir? Tomorrow, Augsburg, Northwestern, and women's hoops. That gets a yes. That means you can watch that on tjsportsonline.net. Taking the show on the road to St. Paul, are you? Or Roseville, I guess you could say. Out low, Holt to Christensen. And the first bucket of the collegiate career for Alexis Christensen. Foul against Lachey Holt. Her first personal foul against Holt, but with the bonus situation for Crown, they'll send Klaustermeyer to the line. So tomorrow, Northwestern hosts Augsburg, North Central hosting McAllister, Northland playing host to Bethel and the Royals, and Wisconsin River Falls taking on the Carleton Knights on the other side of the border. Plenty of men's basketball action as well. Holt rebound off of the miss. 62-33. Lachey drives, got it to Lee, but before then a foul. 2 shots upcoming for Holt. The foul against Klaustermeyer. So one of the aggravating things about non-conference basketball, and especially in the early stages, and the officials would never admit it to a man, but any preseason emphasis that's going to be placed on certain rulings or rules that want to be emphasized and really drilled home to these teams, things that the officials would like to watch closely as the season moves along, are always called in preseason games. I can remember in years past I did a game, some of the games here at St. Kate's, but then also I did one men's basketball game at Augsburg where it was a first or second game of the season. There were literally 34 fouls called in the first half. It took the better part of an hour and a half. So these officials are trying to reinforce and set the tone for this season on what they do and don't want to call. There's another whistle. This one against Lee means more free throws for Crown. 2:54 left in the third quarter. Brakefield is on the board with her first point as her free throw is good. Folks, Twin Cities Orthopedics, a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors, team physicians to the University of St. Kate's, Augsburg College, Hamline University, and others. Visit tcomn.com. Second free throw is good for Brakefield. Holt crashes into the lane. Crown bench wanted to travel, didn't get it. Either way, the Wildcats turned it over as they threw it right at their own bench. And a turnover tipped into the hands of Holt. She threw a hard elbow up and committed an offensive foul. Getting her feet set underneath the basket was Lexi Beasley, the freshman out of Phoenix. Lachey Holt poked that one away, and that's going to be a foul against 45. Good heavens, could we have any more whistles? Tom getting a kick out of Sean, who, no matter the score, will always be a vocal advocate for his team when it comes to the whistles, as Shea is called for her third foul. I'm very politically correct in my descriptions of the coach, and he's always in the air, always entertaining. It was great talking to him in our pregame show, though. He's really a proud papa. That little boy, not yet a year old, Sean's son, Coach Pinkerton's son, something like 11 months old or something like that, and he weighs 28 pounds. 28 pounds. Believe it or not. Clearly going to be a stud offensive lineman or something like that. Not shooting hoops yet. Yeah, just give him some time. He won't have a choice in the matter. 3, Garcia is off. Rebound chased down by Kelsey Olsen, one of the newcomers. Chauvin lost it. Beasley the steal. She finds Malone in transition. That layup might have been blocked, and Jennings the weak side rebound. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Chauvin floater in and out. Rebound. Brown comes up with it. It's a jump ball, and it's the Storm's basketball. Understanding, looking at social media, that it's a bit of a tumultuous night in the Twin Cities. It sounds like there's some activity on Interstate 94 towards downtown Minneapolis. Some protests taking place on a cold, rainy mid-November night. But in here tonight, we focus on basketball. And that shot was blocked, but a foul was called in the process. Caitlin Carter goes to the free throw line, shoot 2. Mackenzie Mace, freshman Redwood Falls, called for her first foul in her collegiate career. Carter on the free throw line, swishes her first. Carter 3 points on the night. Second shot goes long. Rebound, Christensen. And a jump ball is called as she got tied up. Carter and Beasley tied her up. Possession arrow for the Wildcats means they'll keep it. But still, both teams playing hard in this blowout contest. One thing that's not happening very much is movement on the game clock. 1:37 still remaining here in the third quarter. And I've got nowhere to be. I don't have a dinner reservation or dates or nothing like that. I love basketball, but boy, oh boy, that game clock is perpetually stuck inside of 2 minutes here in this third quarter of this blowout game. Early season action. Newcomers getting some invaluable experience. Again, you only get so many of these non-conference games, and you got to make the most of them, even in a blowout. Chauvin pulls it up. Nice stroke. The junior out of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, went to Osseo High School, has a very nice shooting touch. As Crown goes the other way, Maurer tried to go back up top and threw it away. Speaking of Osseo, they won their state football championship. I know that broke a lot of hearts of fans around the state of Minnesota that Eastridge came up short in that one. And I know 2-3 is short. Another whistle. Minute 1 left here. I know too that Tom was excited because Darren Lamker, their head coach, was an Augie quarterback. An Augie quarterback. So he's an MIAC guy. After the foul, Maurer will go down to the free throw line to shoot 2. And they got a heck of an effort from their running back, who carried the ball more than 40 times at 5'7", 160 pounds or something like that. Can you say ice bath? Maurer's second shot is good. She's got 5 tonight, and the score is 65-38. St. Kate's with a commanding lead. A drive and a foul. And they're going to call Lexi Beasley for contact with the hands. Olsen, who knocks down her first free throw. Freshman out of Bemidji, Minnesota. Good heavens. That is a keen eye. That's the equivalent to a sharp pencil, with a third quarter score of 67-38. Brakefield trying to go down low for Maurer. She lost it. 38 seconds left in the third quarter. Fresh shot clock for St. Kate's. And they'll run their offense with Chauvin. inside of the arc. That's Olsen lining it up. Becerra, the rebound. No shot clock for Crown. They can hold it for the last possession, but trapped in front of the Wildcat bench and turning it over was Marissa Baressa. The Wildcats force a turnover. Dozen seconds left in the third quarter. Chauvin around a screen. 7 down low. Tapped out of bounds by Klostermeyer. And we will put the ball back in play. Wildcats ball. 3 seconds left in the third quarter. Pass comes in. Kelsey Olsen, long shot. Wicked bounce off of the backboard. No good, and we go to the fourth quarter. 67-38 your score. 29 points is the lead for St. Kate's. A closer third quarter. St. Kate's only outscores Crown 22-16. Still have a commanding hammerlock on this home opener. Non-conference action. Cats and Storm from St. Paul. Here we go. Welcome back. Fourth quarter action from St. Paul. Matt Nelson alongside of Glenn Thompson. Tom Witchen is somewhere in the Butler Center. I got to remind you folks, going all the way back to 1955, which is when Glenn was a freshman in secondary school back in 1955. Glenn Thompson just rolled his first car off of the lot, and Midwest Vending started servicing organizations large and small throughout the Twin Cities, including St. Kate's here. They're proud to offer unwavering integrity, in-demand products, innovative technology, and personal attention. Give them a call, 952-707-1990, or visit MidwestVending.com. Crown too slow to get it in. They turn it over. Wildcats will have it going from right to left. If you're joining us late, shame on you. Plenty of scoring for the Wildcats. Audra Clark has 16, Jennings 13, and Lachey Holt with 13 of her own, as the Wildcats have a commanding 67-38 lead. Garcia hands it off. Mackenzie Mace is one of the newcomers. That's Davis. Shot was short. Rebound put back in by Kelsey Olsen. Brown tried to go down low. Davis got a hand on it, and they're going to call a foul against Davis. The second foul against Davis, who also sets on Corey Phelps' volleyball team, is called for her second. The second against the Wildcats here in the fourth quarter. Quick pass comes in. The third foul against Davis on a missed layup by Jessica Klostermeyer. Klostermeyer's 7 points, along with Marissa Becerra, the best tonight for Crown. First free throw is good. Now Klostermeyer leading all scorers for Crown College. She goes 2 for 2. Yeah, not much juice from the home audience crowd tonight here. I'm going with the theory that they all stayed home to watch it on their laptops and iPads. Shobin in the lane, had it stripped away. Now Crown goes the other way with it, pushing the pace, driving baseline, and scoring is Klostermeyer. Klostermeyer now with 11, and she'll go into a free throw with a chance for a dozen. Free throw is good. And we've had good crowds here. Klostermeyer with 12. We've had some very good crowds here at the Butler Center for volleyball this season. Need those same numbers to come out for basketball as the games get tougher and the margin for error smaller. Shobin outside, wide open three. Olsen, no good. Davis, weak side rebound and a putback. Maria Davis with a pair. It's 71-43. Now low. A shot blocked by Carter. Davis had a hand up. The pocket, though, got picked. Diving for it, keeping it alive was Bessa, and a timeout comes from the Crown bench with 7:58 left. You are listening to Wildcat Basketball. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since 1971, when Witchy went to his senior prom, is Universal Athletic. They've been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes and putting their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. We're back to it with 7:38 left. Here in St. Paul in a non-conference MIAC UMAC showdown that's been a blowout pretty much from the word go. Hannah Malone around a screen and a blocking foul is called against Shobin. 32 in gold. Puts her head down as she's called for her first foul. Fifth foul against St. Kate's means that for the next 7:26 Crown we'll be in the bonus, and there is no single or double now, just bonus situations. Every foul past 5 in the quarters format or periods format results in 2 free throws. First one is good for Malone. Home schedule for you. We will carry all the games from the Butler Center. North Central on November 24th. Hamlin on December 5th. St. Thomas on the 12th. Then we'll say ho, 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 Merry Christmas. See you on the other side of New Year's. January 6th and 9th, St. Mary's in McAllister. The 16th against St. Olaf. 27th against Carleton. Then a 3-game homestand on the Augies, UW Superior, and St. Ben's before ramping it up on senior night against the Cobbers from Concordia on February 17th. So we'll got your home schedule covered here on TJSportsOnline.net. I'll be along. Mike Gallagher will be here with the call of some of that action as well. Holt had it tapped away by Bessa, and it was last touched by Shea. Turnover. And Kennedy Jennings checks into the game. She'll call Garcia to the bench. Jennings and Holt, the experienced players on the floor, alongside of the more inexperienced Davis, Olsen, and Mace. 7 minutes left. Neither team has been very active shooting threes. Lachey just gobbled up Bessa, tapped it away. That's all right. They hugged it out. the rebound on the weak side by Mace. Shea so aggressive defensively. And Holt went up, got it ahead. A pump fake by Olsen. Back for Shea. One dribble, three. Long. Rebound Mace, right back to the goal with it. Mackenzie Mace, freshman, Redwood Falls, Minnesota. First 2 points as a Wildcat and as a collegiate basketball player. Little baseline jumper goes long, weak side rebound for Shea. And Shea pushes it the other way into the corner. Jennings from a dozen feet. Air ball over the goal. Rebound underneath. Davis up and in. Good little showing here for Davis with 4 points. It's 75-49, a 26-point lead. The Cats have led by as many as 30. Working it around, going through a triple team that time was Klaustermeyer. His shot was no good. Heave ahead. Jennings, nice pass for Davis to share the wealth. Jennings gets a lot more playing time than Davis. That's a good little dime. Jennings to Davis. And a Crown College timeout is taken. 5:33 left. It's 77-49. Wildcats with the commanding lead. Boy, these sponsors, we got a great group of them this year. One of them's TJSportsOnline.net, but we don't like to toot our own horn. Twin Cities Orthopedics, Ellsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Push Pedal Pole, Midwest Vending, Best Western in Bloomington, Cone Elevators and Escalators. Wildcats supporters also include Loeffler Business Solutions, McCo Construction, Dolan Printing, Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shapco Printing, Rachel Contracting, and the Opus Group. This game is also brought to you by the letter W for whistle. We've got another one. Lachey Holt called for the foul. Her fourth personal foul for Shea. And it sends Begay to the free throw line. First shot is good. She's got 4 points tonight. Cuts the lead to 27. And she goes 2 for 2. Begay with 5 on the night. Jennings blows by 2 defenders. Look at her go. I should say Holt, pardon me, into the corner. 3 for Mace is off. Shea, a one-man wrecking ball, got the rebound, and Davis threw it into the hands of Begay. Going the other way, one-on-one on Jennings, and scores on her. Good decision by Kennedy. Why foul up this big with 5 minutes to go? Why generate contact that isn't needed? Why stop play? While still getting back and showing effort defensively. Holt, free throw line, crossover dribble. Or Kennedy, now Mace, one of the newcomers. What do you think of these newcomers? Be interesting to see. It doesn't look like any of them will have the impact that Shea had. Oh, 3. Olsen for 3. She's got 6. Doesn't look like any of them will have the immediate impact that the Clarks or Shea had as soon as they walked in the door, but maybe some solid contributors mixed in there. Mace, Christensen as well, 5'10", both 5'10", both longer athletes, front court players. hope you didn't know any better. You could mistake Kelsey Olson for a young Kennedy Jennings. Jennings 5'11", Olson 5'10", both similar structures, and a turnover. Shobin threw it to nobody. 4:09 left. 80-53 your score. Well, we're happy you can join us tonight and all season long. Big thanks to all the St. Kate's fans, family, faculty, staff, sponsors for their support of these student athletes. Brakefield baseline drive off. Rebound tipped around. Kayla Carter came up with it. Back outside Malone to the baseline. Knocked down an 8-footer. Did Leah Brakefield. It's 80-55. 3 minutes and 47 seconds remain. Pass down low. Shot missed by Olson. She got her own rebound. Got it outside for Shobin. For those of you watching around the country, and I know we got a lot of Texas. We heard from Jackson as well. Pass down low is laid up and in. Good pass, high-low action. Shobin finishes it off. We've heard from Jackson, Mississippi, all over the country. Got plenty of players from Texas out on the floor too, but it's been an unseasonably warm fall in the Twin Cities. I heard this weekend somewhere in Minnesota, Madison, Minnesota or something like that, it was 70 degrees. It's been more like Washington, D.C. than Minneapolis, St. Paul, but the cold air is coming this weekend from what I understand. Just in time for the Gophers and Vikings to host home football games outdoors. It's been warm all fall. Now they come home to play, and it's going to be freezing cold. I'm entertaining the thought of going to the game on Saturday. Glenn, do you think if I go, I should bundle up? Or do you think I should kind of be one of those guys with the painted Goldie M on my chest? Brave the elements like my tough Norwegian ancestors. 2:43 left, 82-55. Wildcats with the rock. Shobin goes the other way, pulls it up at the free throw line. Off the iron, off the glass, and down. Yeah, I think I'll bundle up. Good advice from an old sage of these winters. Davis a steal and hands it off Shobin. A heave ahead. Mace, nice pass but couldn't finish it off. Rebound Crown College. Crown is in year 2 of a rebuild and still a ways to go in their program's progress. Maurer wide open three, knocked it down. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Sam Maurer. 8 points for Maurer, inside of 2 left in the ball game. Weak side rebound. Davis put it back up. Couldn't finish it. She should have gone right back up with it. Instead defers to a Shobin 3. Shobin has 7 points. It's 87-58. Biggest lead of the night for the Wildcats. Scoring here tonight. Bessa at 4 for Crown. Malone at 10. Brakefield with 4. Klostermeyer 13 to lead the way for Crown. Maurer with 8 after that last 3. Beasley with 1. Begay 7. Carter 3. Becerra 8. You're scoring for Crown. You add that all up, you come up with 58 for St. Kate's. Horsch had 2 on 1 of 4 shooting. Lee 1 of 4 for 5 points. Meg Clark 1 of 3 for 4. Audra Clark leads all scorers with 17, 7 of 11. Kennedy Jennings 6 of 10 for 14 points. Mace 1 of 4 for 2 points off of the bench. Christensen, as Maurer goes to the free throw line for Crown. Christensen a pair of points. Olson at 7. Garcia with a pair. Davis 6. Shobin 12. And Lachey Holt on 6 of 12 shooting. 14 points, 2 assists, and 7 rebounds. Maurer's second is short. Got her own rebound. Sent it back. Floating try for Begay. That was short, and now a jump ball means it's Wildcats ball. 53 seconds left. 2 shots upcoming for Kelsey Olson. The only teams coming into tonight who had played regular season games were St. Ben's, they were 1-0. St. Thomas 1-0. Hamlin 0-1. Concordia 1-1. Carleton 0-1. And Augsburg 1-0. They play Northwestern tomorrow on TJSportsOnline.net. Cats are going to get out to a 1-0 start before playing Occidental. And then they come home, North Central and UW Stout. But again, you only get these 5 non-conference games before you turn it up in the MIAC, and that's a whole different level of intensity. Bessa, quick trigger on the shot. That's off. Rebound hauled in by Christensen. The Wildcats can dribble out the clock if they so desire. 30 turnovers for Crown, 23 for St. Kate's. All told, this game had 53 turnovers. Plenty of room for these two teams to clean that up as they look ahead to their next games. 45 rebounds for St. Kate's, 29 for Crown. The Wildcats shoot 47%. Crown shoots 34, and the final buzzer rings. 89-58, your final score from the Butler Center. The Wildcats get out to a 1-0 start. Crown falls to 0-1. Big thanks to our sponsors: Twin Cities Orthopedics, Elsmore Swim Shop, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Push Pedal Pull, Midwest Vending, the Best Western in Bloomington, Cone Elevators and Escalators, Loeffler Business Solutions, McGo Construction, Dolan Printing, the Sodexo Group, U.S. Bank, Shapco Printing, Rachel Contracting, and the Opus Group. Our engineer tonight has been Glenn Thompson. Tom Witchen was in the house entertaining us and filling the room with laughs as always. I'm Matt Nelson signing off from St. Paul. 89-58 the final. Wildcats start 2015-2016 basketball season with a bang. We will talk again as the Wildcats will be home and host North Central on November 24th. For Glenn and Tom, I'm Matt saying good night and go Cats.